What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Real Fan Sports. I'm with Nan here. What's good with you, Nan?
Man, I'm good, brother. Just ate. I feel great. How about you?
Just ate. I just ate too, but I feel stuffed and tired.
Yeah, I think I ate less than you did. That's why.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and wake up. That way we can give our predictions for week 9 of the NFL. The trade
Let's get it.
deadline finally came to a close. There was a couple big ones, but no like super ones. Not
Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Not like I expected. The biggest is probably Chase Young to the Niners, beefing up that defense. But other than that, it's been here and there. But let's go ahead and start things off on Thursday, which we will be live for here on the channel at Real Fan Sports. Make sure you come join us live for this game, where hopefully we'll see the Titans with their quarterback in Mr.
Will
Will
Levis.
Levis. Yeah, Titans versus Steelers. If Will Levis is there, what's your prediction? Let's just say it like that.
Will Levis is starting this game. They've already.
Oh,
announced
he is
it.
starting. Oh,
He-
even
he's
better.
starting this
Even
game
better.
Actually, ecstatic and happy because now we finally get to see a quarterback at the Titans that's not named Tannehill who can actually throw the ball with actual accuracy. He looked good in this past weekend, and the Steelers actually looked bad. So, I'm going to go with the Titans because I want to see Will Levis win another one.
I have always been a fan of the Steelers. Like, we talked about it several times.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you what, and I'm a big fan of George Pickens, but Pickens is starting to get this like crazy cockiness to him, which we always kind of see with some Steelers players. Normally not this early, but he's having it. And he got shut the hell down. He got shut the hell down last week. I think he only had one catch for like 12 yards. So I'm gonna go ahead and rock with the Titans too, man. I hope so because I like to see Will Levis continue to do his thing over there, and the Titans actually find a replacement for Tannehill and not have to keep on this long, dread out search that really they've been working with for the last couple years.
Let the kid cook, man. Just let him cook.
Let him develop, man. Why not? If it don't work, then trade later. Let him try for a season or two.
Facts.
So that'll bring us up to our Sunday game, and this is going to be a crazy one. It's at Frankfurt Stadium in Frankfurt. I'm not even sure where Frankfurt is. Is that in Germany? I think it's Germany.
Frankfurt,
Germany. Ooh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Dolphins versus Chiefs. Man, I'm going to have to wake up this early to watch this game because this is going to be a good one.
We have to watch this one. Like, we have to watch this one.
We're going to have to.
Yeah.
What do you
we
think?
already said we're going to watch it before as NFL turns. This is going to be a great game. I'm hoping with my fingers crossed this turned out to be a high-flying game. I want to see big points put on the board. I think KC goes down. I think Kansas City goes down. Kelsey is a great weapon, but Miami just has a better team. Even though I think Kansas City's defense might be a little more hungry than Miami's defense, but the offense of Miami, I think, is actually better. It's hard to say that when people the argument of Tua versus Mahomes, but I'm going with Miami. I want them to win, but also I think they can win. So I'm going with Miami.
I was gonna make a joke just to make everybody upset, but I won't do it. That way you don't click off the video this early about y'all know who. But she might not be there, so Travis Kelce might not perform. We know how it's been. I'm just playing. I'm just gonna stop.
He
I'm
didn't
joking.
show up.
I'm joking.
She didn't show up, and they lost.
Look, I'm gonna say this about Kansas City. Last week was definitely a big time upset. No one expected them to lose in Denver as the season started off, but as we all know, Patrick Mahomes was dealing with the flu. Now, the fact that they're having to travel out to Frankfurt and how his recovery is going with his sickness is going to play a big part in this. If he can get fully recovered before they leave, then he should be okay. But if he's still feeling bad by the time they leave up, I'm assuming they'll leave probably around Thursday or so. If he's still feeling bad, he might not be fully recovered. And in saying that, I think I'm going to let the Dolphins are going to take the victory in this one. It's going to be a fun game, though. They got the overs at 50.5, and it might go higher than that, to be honest. This is going to be a fun game.
It's a possibility.
That'll bring us up to our next game between the Vikings and the Falcons. Both teams 4-4. Vikings finally finding their footing, but it came at the expense of Mr. Kirk Cousins tearing his Achilles. So unfortunate. I feel bad for Kirk. He's a guy that's coming in his last year of his contract. More than likely he was going to leave and then not getting to finish it out. I don't think he deserves that. Nobody deserves that. But regardless, without him, they'll be playing against the Falcons, and they went ahead and grabbed Joshua Dobbs. So we may see he back there as the starting quarterback. What do you think for this game?
I think this is gonna be an interesting development for the Vikings. Losing Cousins was a big hit, of course, but I do think Joshua Dobbs is a interesting replacement because we've always talked about it. He looks pretty good, competent, and when it comes to Cardinals, when it comes to the Cardinals gameplay, we just thought that the overall team as a whole wasn't good enough. I think because of what the Vikings already have, and adding somebody I think has a decent arm, pretty good accuracy, and is young, can move out the pocket, move within the pocket. I'm going to go with the Vikings. We know, and then also with Robinson having issues with the coaching staff, Ritter not playing up to his full potential.
And I believe they're going to be starting Heineke as well.
That's
going to be interesting.
That's right. Yeah. I'm
so
going with Dobbs in the Vikings, man.
I'm gonna go against this, and just because Dobbs is such a different quarterback from Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins isn't elite by any means, but he does play, pretty solid back there underneath center. And the difference between him and Dobbs are very, complete opposite. Dobbs is a lot more mobile, doesn't stay in the pocket and sit as much where Kirk Cousins does. So I think that dynamic is going to take some time to develop, and I think the Falcons are just going to go ahead and rely heavy on their run attack and go ahead and grab this win in a low-scoring game. And I will say that. I think it's going to be low-scoring. That'll bring us up to Cardinals versus Browns.
That's funny.
Who you got?
Cardinals with the new starting QB, Clayton Tune.
Is that for sure? Is that for sure? Because I heard some things that people saying Kyler might start this week.
Right now on their website, it shows Clayton. So I have no idea. I have no idea. And it's still showing Kyler in PUP for his status. So I don't know what part of his 21 day he's in as far as his recovery. But if it is Clayton, I'm going Cleveland. That Cleveland defense is going to feast. Even with Kyler, I think I'm going Cleveland as well. I just think Cleveland's is the better team.
Yeah, Cleveland's a much better team. Jerome Ford should be back. And then with Jerome Ford being hurt, we saw a lot more of Kareem Hunt, and so he was kind of getting his touches, getting back to speed with things. I think this is just going to be a simple win for the Browns. Defense is going to dominate, as we hope. Let me get like 2 pick sixes, bro. I'll be greedy. I don't want one. I want two. That'll bring us up to the Rams and the Packers game. Packers is a team that I expected to move some players during this time, and we only saw one big move where they lost Douglas that got sent over to the Buffalo Bills, if I'm correct. There's so many things that happened today. I can't remember everything, but I believe it's to the Bills. And they're going to face off against this Rams team. What do you think about this one?
Well, Love has not had the best experience in his first full-time tenure as a QB for the Packers. And Stafford, he does have that injury to his hand, correct?
Yeah, I think it's going to linger for the rest of the season, probably.
But I do know Stafford can play through pain. We all know that. Yeah. We've seen it on so many highlight films. I think even with Stafford having the pain that he's dealing with, it's hard for me to go against this team. I don't think it's going to be a question as to who wins this game. It's going to be the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and rock with the Rams as well. There's just so many things going wrong with the Packers, and it's starting to affect a lot of their star players. We know Jared Alexander had his interview this past week after the game, and he was just so frustrated. He basically said, I'm just ready to get out of here. They asked him questions, and every single response, he just said, I don't know. He did that for 12 straight questions, and he's just frustrated. And, rightfully so, but, at the same time, it's like, what did you expect? I know you developed that winning culture whenever Rodgers was there. It's like, but y'all are in a partial rebuild, and there's going to be down moments. It's like, you got to be patient as a vet and try to keep everybody together, not get so upset to where, you're turning all the vibes that may have accumulated to nothing but negative. So I'm definitely going Rams as well. Yeah. That'll bring us up to a interesting one between the Washington Commanders and the New England Patriots. Patriots have had their couple of crazy good games, and Commanders have had a couple good games. They always seem to play the Eagles really close, but when it comes to some other teams, it's not as consistent. As far as Commanders go, they said they were going to trade out and ship everybody if they lost to the Eagles. It stayed close, so they did end up losing their outside defensive end and Chase Young. They also lost Sweat, but they'll be facing this Patriots team that, just What do you think?
You're right. They are just, but they've been playing pretty good the last couple of weeks. Been playing pretty good, fairly consistent on the offensive side. Who's somebody I still like, and I think he's going to have a pretty decent future in the NFL. To me, this is kind of a toss-up to where you can't go wrong with either answer technically. But I'm gonna go Patriots. I'm gonna say Patriots are gonna win.
Okay. I'm gonna rock with the Commanders, man. They had a good game last week. Hopefully they'll come back and come with the same intensity as they did as the week prior, and able to grab a tough win, move them up to 4-6. Or I'm sorry, 4-5.
Yeah.
That'll bring us up to the Bears versus the Saints.
The Bears.
Unfortunately, the Bears starting quarterback Justin Fields is still dealing with that injury, so he will be out. So we're going to see Baggett in there again. I believe I said his last name right. And then you have the New Orleans Saints, who actually look competent on offense for the first time all seasons. Definitely still left some points on the field that should have been brought in, but for the most part looked really good. And they're going up against a struggling Bears team. They are the ones who acquired Sweat from the Commanders. We'll see how much of an impact that has, but I think the Saints can try and go on a roll. I think they need to go on a roll and win the next two leading up to our Week 11 bye in order to hopefully remain on top of the division. Right now we're tied in standings wise. We're below the Falcons because of division record, but hopefully we can go ahead and grab this win and keep that streak going.
I do believe that the Saints will pull this one out. Just Badgett, who has been serviceable in his tenure as the starting quarterback for the Bears, I think the defense of the Saints is going to be able to corral him and keep him contained. And I can see New Orleans pulling this game out and probably with like a 2-touchdown win.
I would love to see that. We've only seen that once, and that was a fluke. Like, if we can get a two touchdown win, not because our defense had like 4 picks, I will be ecstatic.
I think if they utilize Taysom like they did this past week and mix it up where it's not like a stale style of offense, they will be very successful. Even though teams know Taysom's coming, they just really can't stop him.
They're 17-1 whenever Taysom touches the ball more than 7 times in a game. And the only time they lost is whenever he was the starting quarterback, and we were also dealing with a lot of injuries and stuff like that. When that occurred. So I hope so too. And if you want to know a little bit more about the Saints, we will be live for our podcast This Week in Sport with Dolph17, who is a Saints podcaster as well as just a sports podcaster. But we're going to have him on the channel and talk Saints. So make sure y'all tune into that a little bit later on. That'll bring us up to the Seahawks versus the Ravens. Man, Ravens have been looking good. They're finally starting to catch the ball. Lamar Jackson is in like full-blown stride right now. I'm really liking what they're doing. This is the Ravens we expected to see at the beginning of the season. Like, we called it out. We thought the Ravens could be the front runners to win their division. They came out looking really slow, won some close games that they probably shouldn't have won, but now they've kind of came full circle into their own. And then they're facing against a very solid Seahawks team that is just finding ways to win, even though their star DK Metcalf hasn't been as useful as what he has been in the past, which is kind of blows my mind. I was about to say, you probably have more fantasy, don't you? What do you think of this game? Who do you got win? It's going to be in Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium.
I will tell you this. You finally see some stats changing with this team. Yes, the receivers are finally using both hands to catch the ball, but the rushing attack for the game for the Ravens have changed, and now Gus Edwards is the number one rusher for this team now. It's no longer Lamar Jackson. And I've been saying the entire season, when the rushing attack becomes an actual running back as a lead rusher, this team is going to find a different level. They're slowly getting there. I'm going with the Ravens. I do like Seattle. I think they have a great team, a good team, but the Ravens are pushing to a different level, and I think the Ravens are going to pull this out.
Yeah, I like exactly what you said there. I mean, Gus Edwards has been phenomenal the last 2 weeks. He took over the number 1 role, but was playing a little bit banged up after having a good couple weeks in the beginning once he took over for J.K. Dobbins. Got banged up, and then we hadn't really seen him in full stride, but man, he's been looking good. If they can continue that way, working the ball in multiple different aspects on offense, then they can definitely run away with this one. I'm going to go with the Ravens with you, Non. I was thinking Seahawks, but you convinced me. You honestly did. Yeah. Next up is Buccaneers and Texans will be in Houston. Buccaneers have been on a little bit of a losing streak, not looking as excited as they were at their start. Texans have also kind of mellowed out a little bit. CJ Stroud still having a pretty good year, but they haven't been able to close out games. They had a really ugly one this past weekend. What do you think about this game, Don?
I think Texans losing this past weekend was definitely a tough one. I mean, they just couldn't put enough together to get those last 3 points to get them over the top against the Panthers. Bucs, like you said, have kind of been on a slow decline, and it's kind of a decline that we assumed that was going to happen from the beginning, because I mean, I know we just kind of looked down upon Baker Mayfield in his time in the NFL, but this one I'm not 100% sure of how I really feel about either team.
Yeah,
I do think the Texans will pull it out, though.
Yeah, I think if the Texans go back to their confidence in throwing that ball downfield, getting Nico Collins involved, getting Tank Dell involved, and so forth, they're going to have a really good game. And for the opposite end, the Bucs, they got to get the run game going sooner. Rachaad White actually had a decent game last week, and then they got away from it. And then, I think he caught the ball 7 times, which, that helped. There's a lot of little screens and dump offs, but they got to get that run game going to help Baker out. Give him some time. That way he can find guys like Godwin, find guys like Mike Evans, and so forth. Because I don't really know who wins either. Bucs are in my division, so I'm going to go ahead and say Texans.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Next up is going to be the Colts and the Panthers. Panthers finally got a win. Round of applause.
Finally got a win.
Colts dropped to the Saints last week, and in a good game, though. They played well. They were able to put up a lot of points. Some turnovers definitely hindered them. They have one of the worst streaks in the NFL right now, which is the most consistent losses with the intercept. They turn the ball over,
really?
throw an interception. They have lost, I think, something like 17 or 18 straight now.
Really?
What do you think about this game, Don?
Again, like you said, congratulations to the Panthers for finally getting a W. Another game where I feel like we should expect it to be the Colts to get the W, but like you said, it's a crazy stat. But I don't really know, man. Can we see Bryce Young pull out a second win? Can we see him get a full game, or will Minshew just kind of forget what happened in the past week and come out gunning, which I think he will.
Right, and I'm kind of the same way whenever I look at this matchup. My biggest thing with the Panthers, it's like, do they have enough offensive firepower to keep up with the Colts? Because the Colts just seem to keep putting up scores, so they're going to have to match those scores or find a way to stop the Colts. And now with the combination of running between Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor, the Colts, I think that gives them the edge, even with Minshew back there and with some of their a lot of their struggles on defense. So I am going to go ahead and say the Colts, but if the Panthers on defense can stop that run game, which Panthers, have had really good run defense in the past, this year I'm not sure where they're ranked at, then they'll have a chance, but I'm going to go Colts. Next up, we have New York Giants versus the Raiders. That Raiders game definitely upsetted you on Monday night. I know it upsetted all of us. It's like, what is going on? Devontae Adams was wide open for a 40-yard touchdown pass and then a 90-yard touchdown pass that Garoppolo just somehow missed the opening of a 20 by 20 box that Devontae was sitting in and couldn't find him. Now, they're playing against the Giants. They're going to be at home, but the Giants are dealing with more injuries and more problems. So what do you think?
What do I think? I think that I miss Derek Carr. I think that Josh McDaniels should just be an OC and not a coach ever again. I think that Garoppolo needs to be an infinite backup and never be a starter ever again. I feel sorry for Devontae Adams, my fellow Bulldog. They're wasting his talent. They're wasting Renfro. They're even wasting Jacoby Myers, who actually has looked really damn good this year.
And they didn't throw him the ball last week. Like, they threw it to him, twice?
One time.
Yeah,
he got the ball one time.
He was getting 9 to 10 targets. Right. He's been getting 9 to 10 targets a game when he plays. Crazy.
And they, like you said, they finally threw it to Adams, but unfortunately, all but 3 passes were actually in his range, were actually in his wheel. Everything else was too far away. They left 14 points for sure off on the field because he underthrew him or overthrew him. And it's like, he was wide open, man. This team right now is so frustrating. And Mark Davis, bro.
Have you gotten to the point where you want them to lose just so you don't have to see them two again, McDaniels and Garoppolo?
I'm kind of there. I want them to win because I want the players to have success. But I want them to lose because I want them to fire this administration. I want everybody gone. I'd rather have the players coaching themselves at this point. I think me and you were like Dolph and Hoodie going there. We can have a more successful season.
Probably so. We'll be having some flea flickers and stuff. We'll be having some fun, but we'll get more than 3 wins. Look, this is my thing, right? Because Raiders defensively last week didn't look horrible. I mean, you got a pick 6. They've had some other moments where they look really good. Max Crosby continuously doing his thing. Still one of the most underrated D ends in the league. People don't want to give him his flowers. The offensive line is a big problem as well, and it's a lot of, I know I saw on Twitter and different social medias, people were saying you need to stop blaming Garoppolo because he's getting pressured. And it's like, I get that. But also at the same time, it's like, You've been in the league for too long. You got to make those passes that are just wide open, man. You got to adjust. But
how many times we see him like this, looking, and then we see the defender coming at him, he just curls up and falls to the ground.
Yeah, he's got center blocks. There were so many times we were like, move 2 steps left, move 2 steps right. Like, yes, the pressure got there, but you could have evaded it. Like, but regardless of that, I think they beat the Giants. But it's not because of them. It's because the Giants are just going through so much trouble with injuries right now.
I agree. I agree. I think the running game for the Giants will do well. Pass game is going to suffer for sure. Jacobs is going to have a good game. Devontae's finally going to get probably like some decent catches, and Myers will probably be the number one. Myers will probably be the number one receiver for the game, but Devontae will be close behind, and Renfro will be forgotten about. That's what's going to happen because they decided to throw it to Renfro is the game that we didn't need to really throw it to him. We need to throw it to Adams and Myers. It's like your game planning, McDaniels, is bad. This one last thing, and I'm off of this topic.
Yeah.
They asked Josh Jacobs after this game, what do we have to do to fix the offense? And his response was, that's not my job.
Cowboys Eagles. Another great game at 325. Man, look, Eagles, you saw that fake they did on their tush push? The fake tush push to the handoff to Swift?
Did.
Oh my God, I wonder how long they've been waiting to use that. Because earlier in the game, Commanders were actually the first team to stop the tush push. Mm-hmm. And so they got lined back up in, and they're like, yeah, we'll just give it to Swift and let him run to the left side wide open and get that touchdown. Would help boost my fantasy team to a win. This is going to be a fun game. Cowboys sitting at 5-2. Eagles are 7-1. Eagles have a tough stretch of games coming up. We just looked at it. They play the Cowboys twice. They play the Bills. They play the 49ers. They play the Seahawks. They have a tough stretch, and they need to go ahead and take this first one against the Cowboys, especially at home at Lincoln Financial Field. So I'm going to go ahead and give the lead to the Eagles because this is just a must-win for this stretch that they have coming up.
I agree 100%. This little stretch they got coming in, if they can just weather the storm, you don't have to go undefeated. I like what the Eagles are doing. I did see the fake. I thought it was great. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys are actually looking a little bit better right now. I will give him his props. Agree. 5-2, still at a good place. It's still technically early in the season, but I think Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles are going to pull this out, and AJ Brown's going to go bananas. I like it. That'll bring us into our Sunday night game between the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. Another great game. And we got some good matchups in week 9, man. I'm definitely going to be sitting down enjoying some football, and it starts at 8:30, which is even more exciting. So I'm definitely going to have to grab me a little 12-pack and sit down, enjoy some beers, and enjoy some good football. The final game, Bills-Bengals. What do you got now? This one's going to be interesting. We have two teams that have had their moments of, great success and have their moments of great struggle. And the records show, Bengals 4-3, Bills 5-3. This one's, I don't know. Even though I know the numbers and the predictors are out there saying the leverage is towards the Bills, I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's that simple with these two. I think that it's kind of even because of what they've been through, their turmoil throughout the season. But I think the Bengals will come out on top. Mm-hmm. I think Jamar Chase is going to have an amazing game. That's what I'm thinking. And we're finally going to see Mixon get off a little bit more than he's been doing the entire season because he's finally starting to see some success behind that O-line. The Bills are going to need some absolute phenomenal play from Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis in order to win this game. Yeah. That's going to be the number one key for them to win it. But I'll tell you what, I was leaning Bills before last week when I looked at this game on the schedule. I was leaning Bills. But this is where I come in for the Bengals win. And this is why I'm going to say the Bengals are going to win this one because I saw classic Joe Burrow last week. He got hit, turned, and he somehow ducked, bobbed, and weaved, got freed, and threw a touchdown pass. And I was like, the league is going to be in trouble. This is the Bengals team that everybody expects to show up week in and week out. I think they finally have figured it out what was going wrong. We saw Burrow not only evade tackles and not just collapse because he's worried about his injured calf. He actually got on the run and was making yards on his own. He's moving the ball not to just Jamar Chase, but Higgins is getting 6-7 targets. Tyler Boyd is getting 4 or 5 targets, scoring a touchdown in back-to-back weeks. These things is what makes the Bengals
Bengals successful. And then on top of that, Mixon looked great as well. He should have had a touchdown. He got stopped at the one twice. It killed me in fantasy because he should have had two. So with that being said, I'm going Bengals.
And that Bengals defense actually is looking more out as we see the weeks is progressing. They're looking a lot different. So yeah, Bengals, man.
And then for our final game, we have an exciting one.
Man.
Chargers versus Jets. Jets have actually been looking pretty good lately. Surprisingly, a lot of that being on their defense and on the back of Breece Hall. Breece Hall, 78 carries, 443 yards, just 2 touchdowns, which is surprising, but their defense has been holding games to low scoring. And when you look at the Chargers, man, they just... all the weapons. Yeah, you look at the stats. Herbert, 1,890 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Great year. Keenan Allen, 54 receptions, 643 yards, 4 touchdowns. Having a good year. They got Austin Eckler back. He looked really good last week. But they're still struggling. And they're still keeping games close when they shouldn't be. Who do you have in this game?
This one, I know it's kind of like one of those situations where you'd be like, oh, it should be the Chargers. It should be. And you look at the Jets defense, you'd be like, well, they can throw their hat in the ring and saying, maybe not. Zach Wilson, he's looked okay. I don't know what it's going to take for him to get to that next level just to be more competent in the pocket or in the game of football. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if the Jets get his leash where the Jets are just too loose. I want to believe that Herbert and the rest of the crew, the Chargers, can pull this dub out and have a convincing win. They need a convincing win to show why everybody almost every year picks them to be title contenders.
I mean, every other team in the AFC right now that had a slow start at the beginning of the year have found their footing. Yeah. This might be the last chance for the Chargers to find their footing the way that these other teams are trending right now. They have got to win now if they want to go ahead and secure themselves a spot in a wild card position, because they're not catching up to Chiefs. We all know that. But right now, they have to worry about catching up to the dang Jets because they are ahead of them right now.
I mean, so they need to get a win now because they play the Lions next.
Yeah, they're going to have to. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Chargers are going to win it, but I definitely am excited to see what Coach Sal is going to have cooked up defensively to try and slow down Austin Eckler and put pressure on Justin Herbert to force him to make mistakes. Other, semi-exciting things, and nothing's going to happen now, but it's kind of crazy that Aaron Rodgers is back on the field warming up already.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Maybe he's onto something with his spiritual habba stuff. I don't know, bro, but something's changing because the pizza topping.
I never had those other mushrooms, so I don't know. I have friends that do. No.
So that's our predictions for the week, guys. Make sure y'all let us know in the comments what you think we got right, what you think we got wrong. Stand strong for your team. Let us know. We're past the midway point. Who is going to the Super Bowl this year? Let us know your Super Bowl predictions.
Yeah.
You like that? I like that too.
Yeah, I like that.
Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Make sure y'all come check us out for our live streams on Monday and Thursday night for primetime football, as well as our podcast every other Wednesday. This Wednesday, after you watch this, just a couple hours later, if you watch it on Wednesday, we'll be live for the podcast this week in sports. So we'll see y'all there. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Not any closing words?
96% of you guys are not subscribed. Join the family. Become part of the crew.
Subscribe.
Hit that subscribe button and put the notification bell on.
I'm going to start singing.
Be that.